What's up, guys? So I've kind of taken a little bit of a break. No, I'm not a recluse and have long fingernails, but I do still have my beard. So shaving hasn't happened yet in the new year, obviously, but had a great holiday season. I hope you did too. Hope you enjoyed all the videos that we put out in 2022, and now here we are in 2023. And let's talk a little bit about tech, where we're going, what's going on, some of the stuff I'm going to be covering, different directions and things like that. So this is not going to be some fancy B-roll or me doing some kind of cool stuff. I'm just basically probably going to reach over here and pick some stuff up and basically just talking head videos. So I guess the first thing we talk about is what's going on in 2023. We've got lots of rumors. That's probably the first thing I'm going to cover. And then we're going to talk about, of course, what's right around the corner with Samsung, since they're kind of first out of the gate, and a few other things. So let's get started. So let's get started with rumors. What am I hearing, seeing? What do I think about them? What's going on? What I'm excited to see? And then some of the stuff that I'm not so excited to see. So we have heard that, I guess probably the first thing I want to bring up, since I'm a foldable guy, is that Google is going to introduce their Pixel Fold first time they've ever done a folding phone in May of this year. So it's very, very excited. From the rumors, the leaks, everything that's out there, we're expecting this to probably be a very similar form factor to what we saw in the Oppo N find, and so that should be interesting. I'm not a huge fan of the size. To me, it's a little too small, but I know a lot of people like that, I guess, because unfolded, it's closer to a 6:9 aspect ratio, so it's a little bit more usable, but the cover screen is a little wider and it's more like a traditional phone, but it's like short. Typically, I like that. I, after all, do still rock a iPhone 13 Pro, one of my favorite iPhones that I've ever used, if not my favorite iPhone I've ever used. It's been a fantastic phone, and I dig the size a little bit, but I don't know about having a foldable this size that unfolds. So we'll have to see how that goes. But it's exciting to see that foldables are finally, hopefully, starting to creep out into the world and be a little bit more accessible to everyone. If the rumors are true, this phone is not going to be cheap, but it's obviously not going to be as expensive as what Samsung's charging for their foldables, their fold phones. So yeah, we'll have to just see what Google actually does, if this is just going to be an announcement or if it's actually going to be a release of the phone. So that's exciting to see. The next thing, speaking of iPhone, is that it's said that the newest iPhone might possibly have a curved display of some sort. Not meaning that necessarily has a curved screen. Someone pointed that out on Twitter to me, but I feel like that it could possibly be that, and we could possibly see the first ever iPhone Ultra, since they did release a Watch Ultra last year. A lot of people were thinking that we're going to get one. A lot of speculation about what that device is. Is it going to be bigger? Is it going to be a better battery? Is it going to be like a new Bionic Plus chip that's a little bit more powerful? Or will it get an M1 or M2 chip? Is it going to be made out of titanium? Is it going to have a curved screen or curved display with 0 to hardly any bezels at all on this device? We'll have to see. I'm kind of anxious to see that. I've said for a while, after I bought my Watch 5 Pro, I have become pretty much, they've sold me on the titanium thing, and I'd love to see more of that. I think titanium is a very nice material. It's lightweight. It is expensive, but having a phone with some glass and titanium versus something like stainless steel or aluminum just gives you a little bit more premium device and hopefully makes it a little bit more durable. We'll see. So that's pretty much it for the rumor mill, sorta. I'm going to transition over to talking about Samsung, because that event is like a week away from today, and or when I'm recording this, I don't know when you guys are going to see it, hopefully before they release. But yeah, they're coming out with their new S23 series. We've seen a lot of leaks, we've seen a lot of rumors, we've basically seen dummy units, and now we have, unless you're living on a rock, you've seen unboxing of some store, company, or someone who got these devices early. So we know a small, decent design change for the regular S23 and the S23 Plus. They kind of look more like the S22 Ultra, and it seems the S23 Ultra is kind of keeping that design with just those no camera bump, just those small circular lenses protruding from the body, and everything else just being flat. I wasn't real crazy about it on the S22 Ultra. It's fine. I didn't hate it, but I didn't really prefer it. Probably my favorite design for any smartphone out there right now is Pixel. I like the camera bar, but I get that's not for everybody. But I'm just not a fan of off-centered cameras shoved into a corner. Just not my thing. But I think it looks good, and I know that from owning an S22 Ultra, it's really nice when you put it in a case. So we've got that little bit of a design change. From what I can tell, no huge hardware changes as far as bigger, better cameras, or different types of screens, or different types of materials for the body, or anything like that. Probably the biggest change, and the one that everyone's asking, is it worth the upgrade, is going over to the new Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chip. I can tell you from personal experience, I was blown away by the 8 Plus Gen 1 chip that was in my Flip 4. I liked it so much that it made me upgrade and get a Fold 4 because I wasn't going to get it. But overall, I've been really, really impressed with that chip. And to me, to date, that 8 Plus Gen 1 chip, it has been the superior chipset of any device that I used last year. The thermals seem to be better on it. It seems to be less bogged down. It seems to load faster. It seems to handle a lot of multitasking better. It also seems to handle that whole folding mechanism, going from a cover display to an inner display, and the inner display being a lot like a tablet, and animations, all that kind of stuff just seem to be very, very smooth and very, very easy to use. I know a lot of people complain about having laggy Twitter scroll or Facebook scroll or any kind of scroll. I've never had a Samsung device. Even my S22 Ultra didn't have any kind of scrolling issues, so sorry guys, I haven't had that. But I can tell you, I did feel like both phones that had that 8 Plus Gen 1 chip in it versus the Ultra, which did not, felt faster. They felt smoother, they felt better to use, and even things down to like using my camera, they seem to be just a better experience. Not saying that it was bad. Don't take better experience as being, oh, that was bad. Wasn't bad, this one was just better. So I'm excited to see the S23 lineup get that. I plan on getting something from that lineup, hopefully an Ultra, but probably the biggest letdown is finding out that Samsung is not going to let the base model Ultra with 256 gigabytes of storage have 12 gigabytes of RAM. You have to upgrade to a 512 gigabyte or 1 terabyte of storage. And then the other two, from what I've heard, neither one of them are going to have 12 gigabytes of RAM. So one thing I would love to see, not just from Samsung, but with all of the manufacturers, is just to give us kind of a higher tier level device across the board. I mean, if they had, say, just a regular S23 that had a 512 or 1 terabyte version that came with 12 gigabytes of RAM, but you could still get a smaller footprint device. I don't need bigger cameras. I don't need something, I don't need an S Pen in it. I just want that phone with a little bit higher specs. It'd just be nice to have that offering. It'd definitely be nice to have it in the S23 because some people don't want an S Pen, but they want a bigger phone. And then I think if you've got an Ultra phone, why offer a lower RAM count just put it all there, put everything in there. But I'm sure they have a reason. There's a price point, there's a marketing scheme or whatever there. So good luck to them. Hopefully I can pick up an S22 or S23 Ultra and check it out, try it out, review it. Hopefully it's very good. 200 megapixel camera, supposedly, maybe, might be coming this year. It's been kind of back and forth. I've heard both, so we'll just see once it comes out. Moving on from that, recently another phone that I really keep my fingers crossed. I've never used one of these before, but I really like the design of this one and would really like to try it, is the new OnePlus 11. I just think that this design that they've got this year is fantastic. Definitely going to try to get the black one because it's got the textured back on it, unless I do a little more research and find out that's not the one I want. But that green looks really good too. They missed the mark not doing a gold accent like Pixel did, because that was a great combo. But kudos to OnePlus for kind of honing in that design, making it look really nice and premium and pretty, and then giving us a textured back. So those phones look really good. I'm really excited to try them to see how they do. You know, OnePlus has a lot of things going for them, and I think that they have hopefully not caught the LG bug, but they definitely have suffered in the past few years, because they were always what I think Google is now, and it's kind of the underdog that, you know, comes in at a great price point and punches way above that and is a flagship phone for an affordable price. So we'll see how that goes. But for me, that's kind of what the year is going to be, is trying to pick up at least one device, review it, talk about it, move over to a next one. I can tell you from last year, never thought I'd get an S22 Ultra. It just happened. I bought just a regular S22, and it was a great phone, and I actually kind of hated to get rid of it, but it was worth it to get a flip. And then I got rid of my flip and got a fold, and I really missed the flip, so I'm anticipating hopefully a decent upgrade on the Flip 5. I'm really hoping that Samsung puts a larger sensor in that phone for the camera. I would love to see a Flip 4 or Flip 5 with the 50 megapixel shooter that the Fold now has, and that all of the S-line phones have, besides the S22, S23 Ultra. Would it be great to see a Fold 5 with 108 megapixel? Yeah, it would be, but I wasn't sold on the larger sensor. So for me, that's kind of what I'm looking for. But real quick, before we go, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and help me out. I'm on the way to 500. That's my goal, and I'm not far from that. So we should be able to crush that this year. Of course, once we hit 500, I'd love to get to 1,000. But you guys, if you love tech, if you love like honest, raw reviews, somebody that's going to give you like, hey, I'm not affiliated with anybody, nobody pays me to review anything, I just kind of tell you exactly how everything goes. And make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe, keep up with me. You can follow me on all social media. Just Roddy Merritt at everything. It's super easy to go. So to wrap this up, I want to give you kind of a heads up on a review that is coming. And that is a review between comparison before the Fold 5 comes out, of the Z Fold 3, which I still have, and my Z Fold 4. And it might surprise you, because here's why. While I still think the Z Fold 4 is the superior device, I've actually been using these side by side, and I kind of prefer the Z Fold 3. Just a lot of things, and I'll kind of give you some of that up front. One, the wider screen, while yes, I agree, I think it is a little more useful, I do find myself using the outer display a lot more than I did whenever I had my Fold 3. I typically use the inner display more. There's just something about the hold and feel in the hand. This feels a lot more comfortable. The wider this is, the less I'm able to kind of grip it. You can kind of see that here, where I'm able to get my fingers all the way around, and here it kind of stops at my knuckles. One, for security reasons, I don't feel like I'm going to drop this phone as much as I feel like I could drop this one. But also the hand fatigue, in-hand fatigue holding it. As you can see, this one I'm kind of resting it on a finger, and after a while that gets tiresome. Versus this one is palmed a little bit more, and yeah, I could still hold it like this, but I mean, look at that. So that's one thing. Another thing is this had a lot more kind of glossier sides to it versus this one had matte sides. And while this one did show signs of wear and tear early on when I had it, I've been rocking this without a case for a while now, and I haven't got any new chips or scratches or anything like that. Not to say it's indestructible or that it's not a delicate phone. You definitely have to be a little more careful with it than you do with other phones, but kudos to Samsung for making something that I feel like I would be okay carrying this around. Now granted, I'm a light user. I'm not prone to breaking phones or dropping phones or getting a lot of dings and nicks and scratches and things like that. In fact, I've been carrying my almost 2-year-old iPhone 13 Pro without a case for a good solid 3 to 6 months, somewhere in there. Sometimes I'll put in a case if I go biking or something because it mounts to the bike. But outside of that, it's held up pretty well. It does have a few little spots where I've dropped it and things like that. But overall, no cracked screens, no cracked glass. And so being someone that's kind of a light user, I could easily carry this without a case. The matte sides I prefer. But just overall, something about it, really to me, it just seems like it's working design-wise for me a little bit better. There are other things too that I prefer, like cameras on this are probably my favorite of any device right now. Other things like updates and always on displays or lock screens and notifications, I'm preferring a little bit more on this device. Definitely think this device is faster. But there's other stuff too, like the hinge on this. Even though the two were different, I feel like this one's tighter and probably has a better build quality, but this one seems to be a little bit easier to open and close and a little bit snappier. And also, this one I find myself, like, when I open it, it's like it doesn't open all the way, so I have to like really kind of like push it up. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, versus this one seems to just like whoop, just pops right open and it's flat. And this one seems like it's got a little bit of a V to it. So I'm like, come on, buddy. So I don't know. Not entirely sold just yet on foldables. I think Samsung is going to come out with some great things. That we've already heard that they're introducing a new teardrop shape this year for the Fold lineup. Excited to see that. They say that crease is going to be almost gone or completely gone, but that it will close flat with no gap, no gaps. There's gaps there. Gaps. Yeah. So you obviously can see through these, but I haven't seen that be a problem. Other than I do notice that every time I open my phone, it seems like there's dust and lint there, and I'm just like wiping it off. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what's going on with Samsung, where they go with that. That video is coming out soon. Excited to see where Buds go this year. We got our first Buds Pro from Google last year. I've thoroughly loved mine, even though my first pair died. But they were so good, I just got another pair. I have thoroughly loved my Watch 5 Pro from Samsung, so much so that I'm probably going to get rid of my Apple Watch just because it's not as good. I'm sorry, guys. I don't care what anyone says. But yeah, watch review, 1-year watch review for this and the SE. And hopefully I might possibly pick up a Apple Watch Ultra. We'll see. All that and more to come. Thank you guys so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you all and talking to you in the future. Make sure you follow me on all social media, but especially on this one. Hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time. Have a good one and Happy New Year. I see new love for some motoring. I just want socks and stocks. I feel on top to top. Shipping a pop, they pop.